So I've been watching the news the past couple days, and it seems like China and the U.S. are kind of they're at odds again. They're getting pissed at each other when it comes to policies, and how the U.S. wants to use China as in terms of supply chain. And this mostly goes to the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed. I guess it was probably about a month ago now. I know nobody's actually read that damn bill, but in terms of the automotive market, what it was doing is it was trying to take a lot of the supply chain that is currently done, all the mining and the battery manufacturing and all that stuff. It's currently done overseas, a lot of it in China. We buy a lot of that from that regime. And it's trying to bring it back over here to the US. Now, this is a little bit of a double-edged sword. Um, you know, I'm pretty critical of politics when it comes to, what's currently going on right now. There's no doubt about that. I'll admit that. I thought this was a pretty good step in the right direction to try to bring jobs and manufacturing back home. Not only that, but just to bring the balance of power back home. I feel like our automotive industry has just been hung out to dry the past several years just because they're being forced to do business with China and countries like China. They don't necessarily want to, and they're getting price gouged. I mean, you see it right now. Just look at Ford and the way that their batteries are having to increase in pricing constantly. But we're starting to kind of see finally how China wants to play this hand. At first, I thought that they're looking to kind of take over the automotive industry, and they were actually positioned to do so pretty well. I don't think they're going to go as far with it as I initially thought, but I do still think that they're trying to get into other countries. I think they know that the US might be a little bit too big of a hill to climb in terms of bringing their cars over here for sale. I don't know if a lot of people will fall for that now, especially as long as we have the big three, still alive and kicking. I think that they see a lot more value and a lot more control in supplying us with the raw materials and the battery production. And the Inflation Reduction Act does a pretty good job of basically getting rid of a lot of that opportunity. Now, it's a double-edged sword in the fact that I do want those jobs coming over here to the US, but not necessarily those jobs, because I don't want the mining done here in the US. That's dirty jobs, man. That's the type of thing that destroys cities, and it destroys beautiful land. And it's a big problem. So I don't really know how to feel about this yet. I've kind of just been reading the news and seeing what's happened. This is just my really quick take on it. But the fact is, US and China are still pissed at each other. They're still fighting. We're going to see what happens. I do think that manufacturing needs to be done probably somewhere else, but probably not in the US.